Sometimes it can be. So an inequality is just like an equation, but we have what kind of symbols? Instead of an equal sign.
They don't have an equal sign.
But what's our other kind of? No, it could, but no.
Yeah.
Does it kind of look like the alligator mouth?
Oh yeah.
What are these called?
Oh yeah, greater than less than.
Yeah, like less than, greater than,
Equal to.
less than or equal. Yeah. So it's an equation, but we have those guys. We're comparing things. What else is down here? So like I said, we have the same kind of properties to solve these. Like you can add and subtract across the inequality symbol, divide, multiply, and so on. Just pretend it's like a equation or equal sign, but it's an inequality. Now this is kind of a review. What do we know between angles 1, 2, and 3? What relationship exists?
2 plus 3. Yeah.
2 plus 3 equals, and will you write that for me? The measure of angle 1 equals the measure of angle 2 plus the measure of angle 3. Now what's an inequality we could write about that then? What do I for sure know about the measure of...
Oh.
You're okay, we're fine.
Measure 1 is greater than measure 2 plus measure 3.
No, well it's equal to those.
It's
But
greater
what,
than equal to.
Or greater.
Greater than or equal to.
no. What do I for sure, if I were just comparing the measure of angle 1 and the measure of angle 2, what do I for sure know?
They're bigger than 3.
Which one's bigger out of these two?
1.
Doesn't 1 have to be bigger than 2?
Yeah.
Since 2 is part of 1? So that's one thing that's true. What about if you compared the measure of angle 1 to the measure of angle 3? What do you know about this angle compared to this one?
1 is greater than.
Yeah, it has to be bigger than, since it takes 2 plus 3 to equal 1. Right. Does that make sense?
That's all we need, right?
That's it. We're just comparing which one has to be bigger.
Could be harder.
This part's the hardest part. The stuff beneath is much easier. You always do it, Ron? Not this time. Not this time.
This year I'm gonna do it good.
You're doing great. So now if we look at angle 7, this angle right here, which angles are less than 7? I'll tell you there are 4 above. There's 4 different angles.
I'm gonna say 6, 4, 2, 1.
We don't know anything about 6 for sure.
Oh, I mean 5, 4, 2, 1.
We know 7 has to be bigger than 6. He's going to compare.
Okay, let's look at this triangle here. What 2 angles have to add to be 7?
5 and 4.
So I know it has to be bigger than angle 5, and it has to be bigger than angle 4. You're so smart and so right. And now if we look at the big triangle, what 2 angles add up to 7? 1 and... Because it's the same picture that we just had in the first one, right? It's the same exact picture, they just made it a little more complicated. Look.
It can't be, but 2 is only half of it.
Right, so I know it still has to be less than 7, because it's only half.
Would it be then 4 also?
Yep. So we got 4.
Oh yeah.
We're good. Okay, what angle's measured greater than 6? Here's 6. I want one's bigger than 6. There's 2 for sure that we know. We don't know 7.
4 plus 5. No, never mind. They didn't say it.
Okay, let's look at the small triangle. What's the exterior angle of that red triangle?
7 and 8.
Not 7, not 8,
5.
not 5,
6.
Oh, it's 3.
3.
7.
Because 4 plus 6 is 3, so I know 3's bigger. Woo! Woo! We'll figure it out. Now let's look at the big triangle.
8.
Which one's your exterior angle?
8.
8. That was rough. We can do some of those on your assignment together, okay?
What the? Never mind, I get it now.
Do you actually get it? Okay, this is where we boost you up. This next part's easy.
Why do we yes?
Why do we already have a quiz for review tomorrow? No notes tomorrow.
Oh, this there's a quiz.
Woo!
So,
Maybe we'll be open note. Maybe we'll be partner.
I think we do need open note. I think we need open note and partner.
Open note and partner.
And whole class.
And whole class quiz.
Open reading quiz.
I mean, that's pretty much what it's turning into, isn't it? I'm just kidding. Okay. This part I promise is easy. This is the easy part of today. So, we can arrange our angles and sides in order based on what they're across from. So your smallest angle is always opposite the shortest side. And your largest angle is always opposite the longest side. Which kind of makes sense, right? Because if it has to open larger for a larger side, the angle's going to open wider. So if I wanted to list our angles from smallest to biggest, so what's your smallest side here? BC, right? So what angle's across? Angle A. That's your smallest angle.
Wait, I got this right.
Okay, now what's your medium side?
C.
Yep, 10, which is across from C.
I come.
And then B would obviously be your largest. Does that make sense?
I get that.
Okay, see, I told you. Now let's go the other way. Now let's go our sides.
Oh my.
So now your shortest side's across from your smallest angle. And your longest side is across from your largest angle. So it's the same thing, but now we're doing our sides. So list our sides from smallest to biggest. So we gotta figure out what's our smallest angle. Oh boy, what's this angle measure? Did you find it? 35? Okay, so now what side's across from F? ED. What's our medium angle?
Yeah.
Because it's across from 42. And then, yep, EF. Not so bad, right?
No.
Okay, can you do the bottom two, and then we'll just come together and say what they are? You're going smallest to biggest on both for angles and sides.
One of these times it's gonna flip on us.
It probably will in your assignment. Just pay attention. Yeah.
You're gonna make it.
Yeah, we'll be close. Okay, what did you guys get for the angle order? Do we agree with TRS?
Yes.
Perfect. I agree. What about our sides? YX, XZ,
No.
no,
So,
YZ.
YZ.
That's it.
Are we okay with that? Okay. Why don't you guys grab a book? We can maybe do some of those weird ones together on your assignment. And then